Gerard Way served as the lead singer of My Chemical Romance for over a decade, but he just released his first solo album. It's called Hesitant Alien. So, Gerard, I just want to say, I come in peace. It's nice to have you here. How you doing?
I appreciate it. Good. Thanks for having me.
Now, just last week, you released a YouTube video that features kind of an awkward conversation with one of your biggest fans. We're going to take a look at this.
Okay. Okay.
So there's no easy way to say this, but there's no room on the bus. We brought too many guitars. We can't get rid of the guitars, so you're going to have to find another way to get to New Jersey. You know, I want you to be there more than anything, but there's just no room.
So that's your mascot, Lola, has to find her own way to New Jersey.
Yeah, my imaginary friend Lola.
Well, and the show is tomorrow night.
It's tomorrow night.
So,
yeah.
like, I'm really concerned for Lola. You left her hanging. Where is she right now, and is she going to make it?
I think Lola's gonna make it.
Okay, you're confident.
Lola they're very self-reliant.
They are.
Yeah, they.
Okay. Now, on a more serious note, you've mentioned that your new album, Hesitant Alien, is a celebration of the guitar.
It is.
Specifically. So when you're recording an album, how do you celebrate like one instrument over all of the others?
Well, I think you celebrate in that you take something that is possibly old and a little bit tired at that moment, and then you take it and you find a new way to use it.
Sure.
You take old things like fuzz pedals that maybe you don't hear on the radio so much anymore, and you figure out new ways to make those work as well. And I don't know, you just put a lot of it on there. You know, you keep piling on the guitars until it's a wall of guitars.
Cool. Now, when you were with My Chemical Romance, pretty much all of your albums were concept albums.
Yes.
But Hesitant Alien is very decidedly not a concept album. Do you find it freeing as an artist to not be tied to a particular story or aesthetic?
It was very freeing, and it was also really challenging because I was so used to concepts.
Sure.
It become a bit of a crutch in a way. So not having that actually meant like every song had to be its own concept in a way, which I wasn't really used to.
In a certain sense, like having a concept gives you direction when you're writing a song,
Yeah,
right?
it does. It can inform the entire album. You know?
Now, the album might not have a concept about it, but the videos that we've gotten from it so far for Millions and No Show do sort of have like a singular theme about them. To me, it seems like almost found footage from like a VHS, a recording of a 1980s parallel universe sort of Ed Sullivan Show weirdness. That's how I describe the aesthetic.
Definitely a parallel universe, yeah. Jennifer Juniper Stratford, who had directed both videos, we talked and she said, well, what do you like, or where were you coming from with this album? And I talked about glam, and I talked about Bowie, and I talked about T-Rex, and all these 70s glam artists. And she said, well, you know, they used to shoot to this 3/4-inch tape, and I can shoot to that tape. And she had this vision of this show where she said, I want it to be a cable access show, or a public access show from outer space.
I think you accomplished that aesthetic very successfully. Be sure to pick up Hesitant Alien online and in stores right now. And we're going to show you one of those videos right now. This is for No Shows. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I played with concepts so much in the past that it became a bit of a crutch. And I thought the biggest way to challenge myself was to not have a concept and kind of tie a visual concept together kind of at the end, almost. The visuals, I basically did a bunch of these drawings. It wasn't even a lot, it was just a few, and I was able to, even before having the title, I was able to kind of nail down the look from being such a big fan of Bowie and Iggy Pop and 70s glam. So I honed in on that, and I added a little bit of Roxy music, and then the title kind of came out of that too. The thing about No Shows, the song is about independence, you know, and it took me a minute to really realize that's what it was about, but it's about this fierce independence from a greater machine or a scene or even something that you built. Like, the human connection is the most important thing. The concert's not as important. Like, the person on the stage is not as important. I was stressed out for a minute when I was coming up with like a set for the live shows, and you know, I realized that I just need to be up there sharing and doing my thing. Like, I only have an album's worth of material, so what am I gonna do? The mix of the album is very reflective of alternative in the 90s. It's very reflective of the things I grew up listening to, Smashing Pumpkins, things like that, Pixies, but also shoegaze, where the vocals were mixed, you know, a lot lower, like in bands like Jesus and Mary Chain and things like that. It's because it's to create a sonic experience that you're just getting full, pure melody. It's not melodies fighting each other. It's not a competition, or it's not the vocal sitting on top of all the guitars. You're just hearing almost like one sound come out. The guitar and the vocals are just mixed in. I felt like, you know, through radio and things like that, we're getting so conditioned to hearing the vocals so on top that you're not hearing any instruments anymore. Public Image Limited is really an amazing thing because you have John Lydon going from Sex Pistols into something very different and playing with the ideas of marketing and packaging and things like that. It was such a contrast to what the Sex Pistols were that I just always loved that idea. So a lot of the spirit is a little Public Image Limited. Some of the look too, like even the orange hair and the blue and things like that. And then David Bowie has been one of my biggest influences for my entire musical career in my life. Everything down to his theatrics and his Spaceman and his songs, and Iggy. Iggy and Bowie spent this period in Berlin together. That was really prolific and really great for them, and they made these weird records that are just awesome. And I drew a lot of inspiration from those records from the Berlin period. Always be making. What am I making right now? Right now I'm really focused on like doing stuff like press, obviously, and playing the shows and getting that. But every night I get to make something with the audience. And so it satisfies that, even though there's other things I would love to be doing, like making more art, writing more comics. I'm like dying to write this one comic right now. But I work it out in other ways. If I can't do that, then I go on stage and I make some art with the audience every night.